2022 seems to be the year of the vampire because there are a lot of vampire movies that are celebrating an anniversary. And one of the big ones is Nosferatu, which is turning 100 years old. Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, is directed by F.W. Murnau and is cited as a prime example of German Expressionism. It's also the first Dracula movie. The project all started with producer Albin Grau, who had just made a new studio called Prana Films as a way to make occult films, and decided to adapt Dracula as their first endeavor. He liked Murnau's work and handpicked him to helm the project. Unfortunately, they weren't able to secure the rights to the novel from Bram Stoker's widow, so the screenwriter, Heinrich Galeen, was tasked with changing the name, some locations, and character names. So now, Jonathan Harker is Thomas Hutter, Mina is Ellen, Renfield is Knock, and Count Dracula is Count Orlok. Thomas Hutter is a real estate agent who was sent out by his employer, Knock, to sell a house to a count in Transylvania. Despite the warnings of vampires and phantoms that the townsfolk tell him, Thomas arrives at the Count's castle and is welcomed by a tall, gaunt figure. This is Count Orlok. Soon, Thomas grows suspicious of the Count and fears that he may be a vampire. After a night of terror, Orlok leaves Thomas behind in his castle and ventures to his new home in Wisborg, Germany, to start spreading his plague of fear. Another big change is how the vampire is defeated. In the novel, Dracula is staked through the heart. In the movie, he's destroyed by sunlight. This was actually the first time sunlight was introduced in any medium as a way to kill a vampire. In earlier mythos, vampires are only mildly irritated by sunlight. It's never lethal to them. Count Orlok was played by Max Schreck, an actor who was trained in the theater and was still new to acting on screen. It was Albin Grau who came up with the look of the vampire, giving him rat-like features. The look of Orlok has also become iconic and has gone on to inspire other vampires, like Kurt Barlow in Salem's Lot and Peter from What We Do in the Shadows. The film premiered on March 4th, 1922 at the Marmersaal, which is actually located in the garden of the Berlin Zoo. The movie had a wider release on March 15th. However, it was short-lived because Florence Balcom sued Prana Films for producing an unlicensed adaptation of her husband's work. The lawsuit left Prana Films bankrupt and they had to destroy all the negatives and prints of their film. However, the film was able to survive because they had already sent some prints to other countries. Because the title cards were already destroyed, the movie lost its trademark, and that's why it was able to fall into the public domain decades before it was supposed to. Different versions exist with different runtimes and title cards, some that even revert the character names back to their original book names. In 1930, there was a re-edit of the film, and it was retitled The 12th Hour. Nobody from the original production had anything to do with this version. They weren't even credited. In 1979, director Werner Herzog made a remake of the film, retitled Nosferatu the Vampire, and starred Klaus Kinski in the role. And in 2000, E. Elias Merhige made Shadow of the Vampire, a fictionalized account of the making of Nosferatu, where Murnau, played by John Malkovich, hires a real vampire, Max Schreck, played by Willem Dafoe. Though it wasn't Murnau's first film, it did help his career and help establish him as one of the pioneers of German Expressionism. In fact, in between making Nosferatu, he made another movie called The Burning Soil that was released on March 3rd, the day before Nosferatu premiered. I guess movies were just made faster back then. Like I said, the film is in the public domain. You can find it anywhere and check it out for yourself. F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu from 1922.